Hey guys, so it's time to compare here the Sony Xperia X, a new phone from Sony, against the iPhone 6s here, the latest iPhone from Apple, and we are due to get some new iPhones very shortly, in a couple of months actually. So I wanted to see how Sony's latest phone did compare here. And I think Sony's been definitely checking out the iPhone when it comes to the build quality. You can see basically we do have a very similar kind of design here, like metallic aluminium, whereas before it was all about glass on both of them actually. Apple used to make glass phones with the iPhone 4S, so they're both going in the right direction, and obviously the Sony is also a lot smaller than previous phones, although we don't have the I think Sony Xperia X compact yet. Maybe we'll have one in the future which will have like 4.7 dimensions. A lot of people do like the small dimensions of the iPhone. In terms of the actual display, we're still getting the old 720p resolution on the iPhone, but I've been very happy with the displays on the iPhones actually. I think that they're very colourful, very nice viewing angles, etc., and colours, but they definitely could need to bump it up to full HD like we do get on the Sony, which comes with superior pixel density, very good for reading and watching content. So other than that, obviously we do have very different architectures, Apple A9 versus Snapdragon 650, and comparing the Xperia X with the iPhone SE, I found that there was very little difference in terms of the speed here. Both of them very nice and fast to open up stuff. Probably the Apple A9 will be a little bit more future proof when it comes to down the line, but I've been very happy with the Snapdragon 650 performance. Nevertheless, the Xperia X performance comes with a more flagship processor, so that will be good to compare against the Apple A9. But I think the Apple A10 will dominate everything anyway in the later in the year, so we'll have to look out for that. I think Sony should be building its own CPUs, to be honest, to be less at the mercy of Qualcomm. Other than that, we do have slightly different in terms of the actual specs. So you can get 16 gig, 64 gig, or 128 gigs Apple iPhones, which 16 gig in 2016 is pretty bad if you ask me. But I think we're getting 32 gig base storage here with the this one. So let's see if it tells me where the storage is. So wow, they have really buried it away here. So you can see we do get 32 gigs internal storage, which is very nice for your content, etc. You can store a lot more on the Xperia here. We do get 2 gigs of RAM versus 3 gigs of RAM, but the actual multitasking is very buttery on iPhones and very stable. It doesn't really need much more, really. We can just have a look at the performance of the Wi-Fi here. I have just basically had a look to see, the Geekbench performance, but I wanted to see how they compared here. So I think we're getting the AC kind of connectivity on the iPhone, and every speed test I've done with the iPhone has been absolutely fantastic generally. So we can just see if it is the same here. It really makes the most of my connection, making it look good. So that is pretty awesome. I could definitely do the better upload though. I think about that what I get here is probably the max that you can get at the moment, but I'll probably have to look into that. We can just have a look at the Xperia X here, see how this one does. So see if the Snapdragon 650 is any good, and it looks like it's more kind of average score here. It is obviously on the 5G band, so you can see the Apple A9 does pretty much dominate here when it comes to the speed test. But at the end of the day, I don't think many people really use that much unless they're downloading heavy amounts from the internet. So the actual web browsing performance is pretty good on the Sony. One area where I think Sony could definitely learn from Apple and improve in terms of the voice recognition service. So we do get Siri here, and I thought so. You can see she's full of life here. Weather.
Okay, here's the weather between today and the 7th of June 2016.
So you can see, you know, I do enjoy the Siri experience a little bit more than Sony doesn't actually have a voice recognition, which is a little bit boring. You can see what's the weather.
It's 13 degrees and mostly cloudy in Nottingham.
So it does the job, you know, but it's very generic, and you know we would want some improvement there. Another area where a lot of people might be interested in the camera. So again, f2.0 camera, eyesight on the iPhone 6s, and I've been very impressed with the 6s. You know, in terms of what it does, even though it's not quite up there with Android in terms of the raw spec. You can see I still think the iPhone actually is a little bit more better when it comes to the low light shot. You can see I did do one shot on manual and one on superior auto with the Xperia X, and it was about the same in terms of, you know, what you get on both modes. So I think the iPhone does handle it a little bit better in terms of less noise and a little bit more accurate in terms of the colours, like in low light, but it's a solid step up from the Z5 in terms of the shooting speed, and that's like the main issue I had, like, you know, in low light. That was very annoying. I think the Sony definitely dominates the iPhone when it comes to the good light though, which, you know, is the majority of the area where you're going to be doing most of your shooting anyway, so that is pretty good. But the iPhone 6s does come with 4K video support, so that's pretty good for if you do a lot of video recording. The app on the iPhone feels a little bit kind of stale though compared to the Sony app, which gives you a lot more kind of things to do when it comes to, you know, putting on different things here. So if we just scroll this up here, maybe we can see up here somewhere. There we go. So you can see we get more features that you can do in terms of like AR effects, etc. But I think you can get third-party apps on the iPhone, like Movie Effects FX, which gives you kind of like similar stuff here. So what's this? So that's a new notification. It tells you if your battery is less than 30%. Other than that, what else can we talk about? We can talk about the fingerprint scanners. You do get one on the front here, which is very reliable, versus the one on the side. You know, this one is very reliable on the Xperia X. You can see it opens very quickly, and I've not had a major issue with it. So, you know, which one should you buy between these two? They're probably about the same price. I think generally it depends if you know, like the locked down kind of nature of the iPhone versus a more kind of open, you know, customizable nature of the Sony, as well as the integration with Sony services. You definitely get you know, more stuff you can do with the Sony Xperia X, whereas it's more locked down and a little bit drab on the iOS platform. But again, it depends. If you've got a Mac, if you've got an iPad, etc., you're going to get better integration there. So yeah, just a quick little comparison here between the Xperia X and the iPhone 6s. Hope you did enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.